Thank y'all for joining the Darian Jackson show over here. I have Jared over here right now. Dubon, for every time you've been here, every time now. So
I'm loyal.
I'm about to change my channel over here. I'm about to be like the Darian Jackson show and Jared Dubon. You know, and of course I have my wife over here too.
Yeah.
But you haven't been on all of them though.
She's been in the background.
You missed one. Yeah, you missed the one with us and Andrew. Yep.
I was
You're
in the
slacking.
background.
He's.
I was in the background of that video.
You were in the background of it. Okay.
I was making noise in the background.
Oh, yes. Always making noise.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for this one, we're going to be talking about. Actually, for starters, I just kind of want to show off that I got a couple of different things put in place over here for my channel-wise. I've got it now on iTunes. So you can actually listen to all my podcasts. That
Subscribe on iTunes.
Yeah, subscribe on iTunes. I've got myself on Google Play now too, so you can actually go if you're on Android based, kind of like what I like to use. I don't really like iPhones very much, but for all those people that have iPhones, but I have it on Google Play as well, and I'm working on getting it on Spotify. They're kind of weird and kind of bitchy about how they like to do a couple of things on there. So they don't let you know if you're on it. They just kind of just put you on. So I'm working on that one. And I'm on all the YouTube, SoundCloud, and a couple of other different places where you can listen to podcasts. So there's no way you can whatever platform you use, you can pretty much find my channel over here.
If you do listen on iTunes, please subscribe and rate. Let us know. Give us feedback. Any feedback will be welcome.
Yeah, let us know exactly what you think about the channel. All of anything that you think that we can improve. And
Darian's ugly. Kind of stuff, let us know.
But with that though, I'm going to be slowly kind of integrating new technology. As you can see, I've got a new microphone over here. We've got it kind of set up with a little dual thing over here. So we're getting a little bit better with our broadcasting wise. I'm just kind of slowly learning how to be better at getting my podcast. I'm just sitting down. I've now got it where I can kind of play audio and it does on the fly changes and stuff like that. So I'm getting to the point where it'll sound a little bit better for all you audio technician nerds over there. I'm starting to become one. Like, it's kind of scaring me.
He is. It is scary. It's like over my
head
all the time.
He sat here for like 10 minutes and I was talking to him and I was showing him, I got a virtual, sound, I can't remember what those are called, soundboard. I got a virtual soundboard on my computer now, so then I could actually have my sound quality sounding a little bit better over here. And I was showing him all that kind of stuff today. I was just like, I talked a little too much.
It looks cool, but do I understand any of it? No.
So, for this podcast, we're going to be talking about how morals kind of come into play. It's a big topic because it's depending upon all of what society is, what it is. It kind of dictates our laws. It dictates who we want to be. It dictates a whole bunch of different aspects of everything. And so I kind of wanted to talk about where exactly we gain our morals from, where we come up with all these different laws that now allow certain things and don't allow certain things, and where does it go? Like, there's religious morals where, you have religious absolutes that are in the world. Then you also have societal, like society now is becoming a bigger one where it's not just a religious moral where it's like, oh yeah, I don't believe it because my God says this, or now it's like, I don't think this because I have a friend that does this, and now you pertain to thinking that you have a different moral system over here where it's like, okay, well, it's okay to cheat, or it's okay to do this, or it's okay to be homosexual and all that kind of stuff, and in contrast to all the other types of religions or anything like that, they would be contradicting a little bit over here. So society does play a big role in, especially now, in what exactly we are accepting. And then now we have also Hollywood that's a big little pusher of new. Huge pusher, yeah. Yep. It's I don't think that, it's kind of sad that when I see people I like people that think. The one thing I want people to do when I'm talking to them is not only just give their opinion, but allowing them to conjure up their own thoughts and make up their own goddamn mind on certain subjects. So then you can have, your own, it's you, but I don't really like when other people are like, oh, I believe this because this person believes it. Well, it's fine to be able to do that, and we're supposed to do that as humans, but doing that on the sole purpose because someone plays good in a movie, and now they say something, and now you're going off with that, So it's like it kind of. Where are your morals coming from? Where do you think their morals coming from? And then there's also family infrastructure. The family infrastructure is a big contributor to exactly where you think you morally are standing there, because pretty much whatever you learn in your family, whatever you were raised with, is kind of what's going to stick with you for the rest of your life over there too. Like, we were raised in a Christian family over here, so we have Christian morals. So no matter what I do in life now, I'm going to, if I go around what my family's morals were, I will still have them sticking in my head when I'm doing maybe something that morally we didn't agree with back when I was younger. Mm-hmm. And so no matter what you do, you'll always be kind of stuck with that.
Yep. You will.
But moral wise, though, I do think that it's changing big time with, like I said, religious wise, we're kind of shying away from having more of a religious type background to more whimsical. I think it's kind of swaying back and forth between what's acceptable, what's not. I think they go extreme one way, and then it swings back really hard, extreme the other way, and then it swings back really hard, extreme over here. And so I want to talk about that a little bit. Talk about where exactly, at least the United States now over here, got its morals, and we can kind of foresee where it came from and where a moral absolute would be coming from. We're both Christians here, so that kind of it kind of makes it a little bit different.
All three of us, including the devil on the floor over here.
We gotta get in front of the mic.
I'll speak up.
Come sit next to me. I'm bite. Not yet.
What? I'm staying here then.
So with that though, some of the things that I think that I'm seeing that are different now is how morals are set in a very, very set, static place, but then they change. Like, Christianity has changed through the hundreds of years that we've had it. All these different types of people have changed, and like even having gay rights now. Like back in the day when you were gay, like that was a mental state. Like people were going into mental hospitals because they were gay. It was not accepted. And they took that part of the Bible where Sodom and Gomorrah, and then God talks about a couple of other things regarding being gay and how it's not it's not right in the Bible's standards over there, and they base their society on it. Our society was based off of it, but now it's changed. What do you think was a big contributing factor of those changes?
Big contributing factor. I think it's different things. So, one would be, I think if you look at as a country, so a lot of how we acted as a country was based on our beliefs, and we were predominantly Christian. If you looked at the 1950s, 1960s, we went through the great evangelical period. You had Billy Graham. You had a lot of things that was really pushing us towards that. Right. And then you
had the Bible pushers too, or like the holy rollers. Like my great grandfather was a holy roller, just moving around, just kind of going and spreading the gospel all throughout. Yeah.
But then you hit the 1970s, you hit the 1980s.
Get the good hippie movement going.
Yeah, and some people could say the hippie movement started it because free love. It kind of opened the door to a lot of things.
To be honest, I think it's just the drugs. I mean, doing any kind of psychedelic substances. Like, in my past, I had some psychedelic substances that I've taken before, too. And it opens up your mind, and if you're not completely... Like, you're not going to sit in the same spot and be complacent. You're going to be moving one way or another. I think a lot of times people are kind of at a stale zone, and... I think that just pushed them over to actually decide whether they are going to be a Christian or whether they're not going to be a Christian. And so a lot of them decided the latter,
Yeah.
And then when you're thinking you're all enlightened and stuff like that, you don't really need a God, you know?
Yeah. But then also at that time, drugs were very looked down upon. So I think they viewed it as, you know what? Everything's okay because drugs are okay. So is this. So that was just kind of the thing, Hey, everything that's considered wrong, really nothing wrong with it.
Right. And I think that was the big contributing factor of everything too. Is now like when you're told to question everything. Back in the day, it was like you didn't question. You don't question authority. You didn't question your religious morals, because doing so, you almost kind of feel guilty of saying like that you don't believe in them. And that's kind of what I like to question things. I like to question things not for the fact that I don't believe in them, but for the fact of refining why I believe in them. Better determining why it is. Because right now, we're as a society, we're not gonna call you out on your bullshit. We're not gonna let you just get around and be like, oh, we just do this. Well, why the fuck do we do that?
No, I think as a society we do that. We do let people just do whatever the fuck they want, and everything's okay. And I think that's what's wrong with our society.
Right. But the thing though is like when you're asking, when you're going to a war and now you're just being told just do this, this is why we're doing this, and then you don't question it at
That's
all.
different though. That's different.
It is different, but it's in the same kind of category over there where
No.
you can question why you're doing what you're doing.
No, because as a soldier, you sign on that dotted line, and you are the government's little robot, little pet, whatever you want to call it. You're theirs, so that that means okay. If that means we go to war, that means I go to war. And then even as a soldier, and I think I speak from a little bit of knowledge because my brother's in the military. But it's if they're sent as a citizen, we're all gonna be concerned on why we're doing it. What are the reasons why we're fighting these people? But I think if you look at it from a soldier's perspective, they just view it as, hey, I got told to do this. Now the number one thing is let's try to get back alive. They're not worried on the why, the blah, the whatever. It's just, hey, I'm just told to do this. Just do it to the best of my ability and try to get home. That's the only way they view it.
Right. I don't think I could ever get to that point where I would just, like I said, I like to question things. So I'm like, okay, well, why am I doing this? Am I killing innocent people for any given reason?
But I think that's what they beat out of you during boot camp. That's the whole point of boot camp is
just follow an order.
You just follow the order. Whether you think it's right, wrong, indifferent.
That's what I think that religions have done in the past too.
Yeah, I would say religions.
Not only did they enforced the rules, which some might say were good, some might say were bad, but at the same time, they didn't want you to question the ruling. And so you could have people coming in and saying just weird stuff, but since they had some type of authority, or they said they had some type of authority, now they're controlling a mass of people doing something that they shouldn't have done before to begin with.
Because I agree. But that's the institution of religion. Mm-hmm. Like, religion is an institution.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it goes. And that's why I some people will be like, well, are you religious? No, I am not religious. I am a Christian, but I am not religious.
Right. And I almost don't even like to be even considered I like the thought of being a Christian, but then at the same time, I don't like to be categorized as Christian, because like the category of being a Christian, like, I mean, I had Mormon friends on my block, and I had a Catholic friend on my block way back when I was younger, and I mean, they all consider themselves to be Christian, whether they are or not, in everything over there, but you're categorizing yourself in such a broad scope now. Mm-hmm. And then you can get little subcategories inside here, but it's a weird thing to be like, oh, I'm Christian, but then people associate Christians as, oh, those people that judge people, or those people that do this, or those people that do this. It's changed through the times, And I don't know how it or why it changed through the times where at first it was like, oh yeah, I'm a Christ follower. I'm following Christ. It's pretty much what it means,
Yeah.
I'm a Christ follower. But now it means something different in people, in society's eyes, And so what it represents now, I don't really like very much,
I think in some ways it's been a little bit, especially now, it's been a little bit politicized.
Exactly.
You say Christian and they say Republican. That's what I feel like it's a little bit leaning.
And closed-minded too. Even,
yeah, like you're not open to new ideas.
Yeah,
you just black and white. There's nothing new.
Yeah, or even to like an atheist too. Like I was stating before the podcast too. With an atheistical type thinking, they're thinking that you call yourself a Christian, so they base a lot of what they believe on the sciences and stuff like that. Well, if you're Christian, you don't really go after the same type of science that they're going after.
Yeah.
So as soon as you say you're a Christian, they're over there like, oh, okay, well, you're not letting me, do this funding for this project over here, because if you're a Christian, you don't even care, But to them, it's a big deal. And so you're halting their religious views almost pretty much, And so it's a weird one. It's weird to be able. I would like them to still be able to do what they're doing, and I would, they're finding answers that they want to find out. And then for Christians, they don't care. We don't care if there's aliens out there or not, but they do, and they care a lot. And so I don't know. It's something weird that I was, that I don't know why Christians are so against if someone else is trying to, pursue something that they believe. Let them go look for aliens, and if they find something, then okay. But like hindering them from being able to do that, or at least the atheists think they're being hindered from being able to do certain things because of Christianity, and so like the sciences they believe are suffering because of it. Because if everyone was just on the same thought process, then they would just push science continually. We don't push science in there because we have we don't care. It doesn't matter in the end. To them it matters though, because this is all they have. So I think one thing though that with moral wise is I always look to the past and see kind of all the weird issues that seem to have happened back then, and then now we just are like, oh no, that's wrong, or oh no, we don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Like I'll take like slavery an example over there. There were people that were, there's the mass of people over here. Society dictated that having slaves was okay. Whether there's a couple of people here and there that didn't believe it over there, but
I don't think society considered it okay. It was a sign of status.
Yeah, but
if I had a slave, okay, well then that meant I was somebody, and the more you had, the more wealth and power you had.
But like, if you put yourself in the shoes of if you just took yourself out, took your whole entire moral system out of here, and then put it over into that time frame, where would you line up over there? Like, that wasn't. It was not really a religious matter over there. It was more of a society, matter that they had over there. Because in the Christian, the Bible and everything, there were slaves and stuff that were in there. I believe God didn't really want it to be, but He allowed quite a bit of things. He allowed divorce in the Bible over there later on too, because people were just so stubborn. So I think He allowed it, but He didn't want. Of course, He doesn't want anyone to be not, equally treated over here too. But where would we line up if we sat back over into that time period? Would society dictate what I believe as, okay, having slaves are okay? Because right now I'm like, hell no. It's like, no, of course not. It's not right. But it was different then. And what's changed like that changed it to not be acceptable,
Well, I think it depends on kind of what you did too. Because if you really look at it, the reason we needed slaves was we were colonizing a new country. So the need for slaves was there because someone had to do the work. And I'm not saying that only the slaves did the work. I think it took everyone having to do the work, but you needed more people, and it took money to come to the New World, and so the people with the money were able to afford the slaves, and that's how, and that's where you saw the South was had the predominant amount of slaves because they had to. There wasn't enough people to pick the cotton and to do all that stuff that was here. And then if you look, the reason the Civil War happened was not because of a moral high ground, as is sometimes portrayed, but it was because the North didn't need slaves. They became industrial. They didn't need They didn't need slaves to work in the mills and making the clothes, because they could get. They started using women and children, and they were the ones who started the reason we have all the laws that you can't
for child labor.
Yeah, it's because the North started that, and so was it any better? The North wants to say, hey, we stopped, but they just turned to women and children and abused them.
Right.
So there was
going into coal mines and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they created another problem in order to say, hey, we're morally better than the South.
And to be honest, I've read in some history and stuff like that, and it didn't seem like the whole reasoning for them going and taking them out like that. The war wasn't built upon, they had slaves, or they didn't have slaves. It was just kind of like that was the aftermath of it.
It was used. Abraham Lincoln put that in.
Yep.
To weaken the South, because the South could not operate without the slaves, and he knew it.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why that tactic was employed.
Right, and then he's turning, strong people against them.
Yeah, so you're fighting among yourselves,
exactly.
Which is going to make it harder to fight him.
But then then Abraham Lincoln was right. In the sense that they are free people, and they should be treated with respect over here, and they should be treated as equal. They're not slaves. They're not property.
But do you really think he did it for that reason? I don't believe he did it for that reason.
No, but his saying of the reasoning was, in my opinion, correct. But then that's the thing. We've been in in a society that it's been so instilled in us that what was happening at that time was wrong. That it has been wrong, and so we don't have any way of taking ourselves out of this type of society's moral code, So there's no way of going back over there. Like, what were the people that were Christians thinking at that time when they were doing this certain things, and then when all the slavery was going through? Like, were they just going around their business? Everybody usually around that time was predominantly Christian, so that means that the people that were owning slaves had to be Christians over there too. And so,
But as we know today, calling yourself a Christian and actually being one are two different things. You can go to church on Sunday, but that don't mean you're not a heathen the rest 6 days of the week.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But then where were the preachers in this moment? Were they preaching against it? Were they
I'm sure
for it, or were they just ignoring it completely?
As it is today, like if you want to take the gay thing, there's a lot of preachers who speak up for that. I wonder why. Because society is saying it's okay. So if I want society to come to my church, maybe I need to say what society is liking. So I'm sure it's the same thing back then. They needed the powerful, rich people to support them. So I can't condemn slavery if I need you in my building, putting money in my coffin.
The rich people too, because
yes.
all the tithe money that they have to give, it's kind of
and
crazy.
They were the ones going to church. Especially in the South.
Oh yeah.
Everyone went to church, whether you really believe it or not. You went to church.
Oh yeah, yeah. But then it also comes in my mind too, is like, we have our society over here, and then we can see other societies where, like, where the Muslims are more, are there, and they have the Sharia law and all that kind of stuff that they have over there, and they have an entirely different set of moral system. and their moral system was based, their society and religious views are kind of, they never separated like we did over here with church and state, where, church and state let us separate, I think even our moral, ways, they're kind of all lined up in their ways, where the church and state is the same thing, you believe in the same thing over there, but then they believe completely that, what they're doing is, completely okay. Where does that stop? Where does that, like, it's ingrained in their minds, that it's okay to stone people for certain situations. It's okay to do this. It's okay to do that,
I think, personally, I believe it is okay to stone someone. I think we should stone a few more people around here and people wouldn't quit doing so much stupid shit.
Right.
But I think that's just personal. Some of that boils down to personal opinion. But I don't think there's necessarily a problem. The problem with it is there's freedom. So are your people actually free or not? So if you're combining church and state, and then you're saying everyone has to do it, well, that's almost the same as a dictatorship. And there's no real freedom.
But the thing about a dictatorship is you have a dictator, but they're using the dictator of
is the
book,
religion, yes.
So like you can't fight a book. You can fight a dictator all day, but you can't really fight a book. The book is just going to continue on and on and
leave.
on.
That's what you
That's
have.
the only thing you
have
can
to
do.
leave.
You have to leave, and then like that's the craziest thing to me though. It's like but then they're stuck. Like what happens when you're stuck in a moral situation where like you can't do anything about it. You're just like, this is what we do. And you can't get out of it. I think that's the most amazing part about being in the United States is being able to come up with your own mind. Like you don't have to agree with everybody over here.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the thing though. That I think it's okay to disagree with people. I think the only problem that we have is that we're now associating more emotion to our topics or emotion to our ideas. And with that emotion comes, if you start trying to attack a topic that I believe in or that I don't believe in and saying that it's wrong, well, then I emotionally am tied into that topic, so then I take offense to it.
Yeah.
And so I think being able to take yourself out of a situation, take your own personal feelings out of a situation, setting them off to the side, setting down what you believe in, and then if someone attacks it, just shrugging it off, because at some point you have to come together and be okay with being, one of you is wrong or both of you is wrong, but you can't both be right, and then you're having
why does someone have to be right? I'm okay with being, like, at the end of the day, how do you really know whether you're right or wrong?
That's
you
the thing,
really
too.
don't. So why doesn't everyone just be you? You believe what you want. You can believe it. You got to be able to accept the other person's point of view, and then in some way you got to find like a middle ground. Because if you just both, hey, I'm right, you're right, then where do we mesh? Where do we get along as a society?
Exactly. And I think that's where we're not getting along as a society. We're slowly fading away from each other and ripping at each other. And then with the supporters of Trump, or just what I've seen of when I was watching the whole entire campaign go down and everything. And there were just people doing crazy stuff to people that didn't believe this exact same way, just like beating people up. And it's just, I'm like, well, why would you do that?
Yeah.
That's not what I believe Trump would have wanted over there for that to happen. But they're still doing that in his name over there too. And I think that's what Christians, as in general, or Muslims, or all these different religions that are out there have done with religion itself. They've used it, and it's like you clearly are not all completely right, but then they go and use it as like a sword all the time. Everything, all your morals is, you know, used as a sword. I think it's more of a guiding thing. Like, you know, let's talk this out. Let's figure out what it is, and then, you know, figure out where you believe, and not just go in and attack people for your belief. You know, I'm not gonna attack someone for their belief ever. I'm gonna try to see why they believe what they believe, so then I can better understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Because everyone comes from a different demographic. Everyone comes with a different, you know, set of ideas, and everyone comes with, you know, moral differences based upon religion or family.
And are often influenced by the society that's around them.
And yeah, exactly. And so we make decisions based upon, we make our decisions based upon our moral compass, where we line up with our moral compass. How you determine how you're reading your compass is all determined by all the different little aspects of all the different things that people put in place, you know. But attacking someone for saying that, you know, oh, well, since you don't believe in me, you're just a stupid, ugly person, you know. And I saw Trump doing that, but he's doing it, I think, in a funny manner. I think he doesn't really believe what he says. He just is doing it to push his belief system, so then people get kind of more outraged. And it worked for him. I mean, he's president now. Like, it's ridiculous. He calling people, you know, stupid, and then they kind of like freak out, and then they forget what they were even asking them to begin with, and he's over there just chuckling because he didn't want to answer the question.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, oh, you're stupid, ugly. And they're like, excuse me? You know, and then now they're all stuck on that little issue, and he never had to answer the question, you know? It's quite brilliant on his part, I think. Unless he's just doing that, you know, unless he's really just, oh, you're really ugly, you know, he really believes it.
I think he's just a great example of, like, he's the definition of our society right now. Like, even on the other side, I mean... He's
the loophole. He's the guy spinning it back.
Yeah, he's the guy not playing by the rules. You know, the rules are, you can't do this, and you can't do this, you can't... And he's exactly what we're talking about. He just does him. Yeah. You like him, love him, he doesn't care.
And he doesn't allow society to dictate.
Society doesn't mean squat to him.
Yeah. But that's the thing, too. It's like, you know, why the society, I don't know where that transition shifted, where now we have to police society's moral standards and try to align ourselves up with, you know, being, you know, oh, okay, we'll allow the gay people to do this, we'll allow the gay people to do that, now they can get married and all that kind of stuff. Which I believe, I don't know, I believe that's, I know that the Bible states that it's not right. I know that, you know, the Muslims, they will stone people that are gay over there. But at the same time, I think you should be showing people love, and I think you should be showing them, you know, acceptance in a way where, morally speaking, you don't accept their morals, but as a person, you love them still.
Yeah.
You know, and having that capability and not dictating, like, everything that you're doing now is, you know, because you're this, you know, that's just little parts of your...
both sides have to accept that. So I think as a society, and I think even the point I'm about to make has to do with Trump. I think almost everyone accepts, like, we lost the straight liners lost the fight on the transgender and all that stuff. It's common now.
Yeah.
But Trump took a stand when he said, hey, no transgenders in the military. And everyone lost their shit. And then he just stood there and said, hey, it costs too much money.
Yeah.
Because you want to change your sex, now I got to buy you 50,000 pills, and if you're a guy, I got to take your dick off. If you're a girl, I got to put the dick on you. And it costs too much money. And he's just coming, he didn't really care about the morals. He's just saying, dude, it costs me too much money.
Logistically speaking, he's just like, you know, I mean...
And then I'm going to send you out to fight? And you don't even know whether you need a dick or a vagina?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing, too, is, like, also, like, that was just a little bit ago considered mutilation. And now, how has that now changed to being okay? You know, how's that?
It's okay to castrate yourself now.
Yeah, it's an okay thing. It's not like anything like we're okay with it as a society. Like some people are, I mean, not as okay with it, but as a society as a whole, we've accepted it as like they put them in like magazines and stuff, and like it's just broadcast.
I think, but there is a line. So society depends what you define society as. So if we define society as mainstream media, it's going to tell us one thing from, I think, people in general. So like the whole Bruce Jenner / Caitlyn Jenner deal. Like media push that as, oh, this is amazing, and it's Caitlyn, it's not Bruce, it's a he, it's a she, not a he. But if you saw it on Instagram, and if you read the quotes, the thing, everyone's like, this is fucking stupid. Like this just doesn't even, and over and over and over, there was actually very few people who, like, even people like, I guess it's okay, but this is stupid, people.
Yeah.
And I think really society, we're all kind of common sense. Like, okay, we can go a little bit, but this is too much. But the media wants us to be almost super acceptive of just crazy shit almost.
I guess they just need to get their kicks on something. You know? Like, I mean, you kind of get like a little lost of like, now what?
Well, it's like the old saying, if you stand for nothing, you will fall for everything.
I don't know that saying. Like, who said that?
It's an old saying.
I've heard it.
I've heard it, yes. I don't know who said that.
No. Alright, I'll look it up.
Yeah, look that up for me over here. Let me see if got some people on the podcast over here. I got a couple of people on this one and a couple of people on our Instagram feed over here. So I got a couple of people waving, hey people. So yeah, I mean, it's a weird one. It's weird because like you just don't know like what's right anymore, you know? Like, if you don't have a moral absolute, if you don't have something that's not a person or a feeling, you know, that if you don't have like something that's set in stone, always going to be the same, it's going to be just fluctuating with feelings, it's going to be fluctuating with the time, and you're never going to know what's right. You're never going to know if you're ever going to be right. And so, like, you know, it was 20 years ago something wasn't right, and then now it's completely acceptable over here, and you're now it's confusing, you know.
So the first person, or first where they have proof of someone who said it, it was Gordon A. Eady in a document entitled "The Overall Mental Health Needs of the Industrial Plant with Special Reference to War Veterans." And this was in 1945 in a journal called Mental Hygiene. So this was the middle of World War II.
Nice.
So that's the first where they found that it was actually being used.
Okay. I was wondering about that.
Then Malcolm X used it.
I heard Malcolm's X, but I was like, I don't know if he said that he was the first one to say that, you know?
Yeah, he wasn't the first one.
He took a lot from a lot of different other people's speeches and stuff like that. Like, he was amazing. I love him. But, like, at the same time, he took little pieces of different, you know, ideas and stuff and just made his own over there with it. But you can hear certain people through his speeches sometimes, you know?
But, so do you believe that? Do you believe, like, the idea, if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for everything?
Well, yeah, because you don't know where the fuck you stand.
I agree.
Because, like, you have to have, you know, even the Bible says you have to have, you know, you have to be able to give your word to somebody, like what you believe, you know? You have to be able to give that, because if you don't, then you utterly don't stand for anything then, in anyone's mind, you know? If you come and tell me certain things and I ask you a question and you don't answer it because you just don't know, then I'll be like, okay, well then you stand for nothing, you know, you don't know. And so I get to dictate what you are.
Yep, then someone else dictates it.
I get to dictate what you are, and you become my little puppet, you know. Pretty much, and then you get that's kind of what they want us to be too. Like, you know, they're like, oh, you can't have any opinions. It's only my opinions. It's only my moral system. You can't have any contradicting ones, and if you do, then we're just going to berate you with, you know, they're destroying your moral compass. You know, so then you're going south instead of north now, you know, where you're going. You don't know where you're traveling anymore. You're just traveling.
Yep.
You're just traveling the sea of life, not knowing where you're going. And I don't know. It's dangerous. It's dangerous because, you know, you get a dictator now come in, and you get a dictator or like someone like Hitler come in, and he brings morals and he brings structure. And we as humans
want structure.
We want structure. Like, it means that we don't have to think as much. And, you know, it just means that, okay, well, you know, everyone else believes it. And it's just, we all want to be a pack. We all kind of have that animalistic mentality where we all want to be in the same place and we can all kind of move forward. Kind of like how I think of, like, in the very beginning of Genesis over there when they were building the Tower of Babel. We all kind of want to come together and better society over here, you know?
Yeah.
But doing that, though, if you destroy all your morals, then someone's going to come in and bring some kind of moral. You're not going to have nothing. You know, you're not going to just sit there with no morals, you know, and just be, you know, just open to everything. Because if you're open to everything, then you're just going to get destroyed as a society. It just never worked out. No society has had that capability of going through and not having any kind of religious infrastructure, even, because you need it. We need some kind of absolute that we can't argue against.
Yeah,
you know?
Definitely.
And then,
but if we're talking about structure, is it necessarily bad? So if you look at what Adolf Hitler did, if you look at some of the greatest feats in history, whether right or wrong, it was obvious what Adolf Hitler did was wrong, but the extent of what they almost took over the whole world.
Exactly. Yeah.
Look at Napoleon. Napoleon almost took over the whole world because of what? Structure. Because he brought a structure to his people, and then from there he was able to take over.
Exactly.
So I think it just shows structure is powerful. It's a lot more powerful than people think. Like Russia. Especially in America, you know, Russia's wrong. But look at the structure. Look at every time a country goes through a civil war, what country ends up kind of setting up an establishment? Russia. Right. Why? Because it's a structure, and at the end of the day, that's what someone wants. When you have chaos, what do you want? Structure.
Exactly. And so that's kind of what the setting is looking like right now. We're getting more and more and more into chaos. And the more in chaos you get, the easier it is to put it back in a structure. You know, where like everyone's yearning for it. Mm-hmm. You know, and if you cause enough chaos, then you can now structure it all. You know?
So, question: Are we building up to the Antichrist?
That's what the Christians would consider it to be. I know that the Muslims have a thing where they're trying to bring in something. I can't remember what it's called now. God damn it. I just did a study with them because, like, I want to know all religions, you know, and I was kind of curious. Like, there are people that believe this, and, you know, I want to know why they believe it, and they're, like, you know, way smarter than I am. So, like, you know, why do these people believe it? And then the Christians can turn around and these people are smart too, and they can contradict themselves, you know. But yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know. I think that it's set up where, I mean, we all want one person to look to. Like, even in the Bible, I mean, they didn't have a king for a long time. they were ruled by judges for a long time over in the Bible, and then they were wanting one person to rule them.
Yeah.
So then they can have that structure over there, and God gave it to them, but it came with so much more.
It came with the price.
It came with
God
the price.
told them.
I mean, they got Saul. I mean, yeah.
Yep. He told him he's gonna take your kids. He's gonna take your kids to fight in his army. He's gonna take your boys to fight in the army. He's gonna take your girls to serve in the kingdom. And that's the truth.
But we still yearn for it, you know? We still want to have someone that rules over it. So then I think it's just like because we're lazy. We don't want to learn, you know, what we believe. We just kind of want to do, you know? We want to be sent off to war, or, you know, we want to be just told, just do it, you know? Mm-hmm. Because like, even like with like physical workout routines and stuff like that, how much better is it when you have a personal trainer telling you what to do, so then you don't have to, like, where he's like, okay, do this meal, do this meal, do this meal, and you're just like, okay, click, 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 check, 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 we're good to go, you know?
Yeah.
Instead of having to figure it out for yourself, now going in and being like, okay, I've got to set up my routine, I've got to set up all this kind of stuff, and then now you're going through with it. It's easier to get backtracked where you stop after that.
And get distracted and unmotivated and all the above.
Yeah, it's easier to have someone, you know, just telling you what to do and be like, oh, okay, go, you know, because you don't have to do as much. You know, it's easier for you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to think. And I think that's what everyone just doesn't want to think anymore. You know, that's why they go and turn to certain drugs, and that's why people go and they do certain things, because no one wants to think anymore. Because thinking hurts. Like, when you go through and it's like, you know, why is there poor people in the world? Why is there people starving? You know, that hurts. And there's no answer. There's no definite answer for it. You know? And so it's easier to ignore it or try to just, you know, whatever, you know.
There's poor people because there's rich people.
Exactly, but, I mean...
There's good, there's evil.
Exactly.
There's night, there's day. They come. You can't have one without the other. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's sad truth. People don't like the sad
yeah, people don't like truth.
No, they don't like truth at all. Because truth hurts. It's
hurts.
ever. Usually with the truth, it's never gonna be like. It's never here on earth. Is the only truth that I've seen, given that I am more Christian, is that I have the truth that God is, you know, going to save me and all this kind of stuff over here too. But that's the only truth that really you can hold on to, because everything else is subjective. You know, like you can. It's like, well, what do you believe? You know, what is a lie? Like, everything could be a lie that we are in. You know. Or like even my religion that I have, it can be a complete lie, and I think that's the only hard part about being in any type of religion of any sort, is they want you to be 100% all the way. You've got to believe, you know. But there's always this little hint of, you know, what if I am wrong? Like, I don't really like people that can't say they're wrong, or says that 100% they're completely certain on certain things, because there's still a slight chance that you are wrong, you know. And then to be able to tell someone else that, oh yeah, well, you believe in that, you're wrong, and they believe it 100%, you're now having a little fight with them over there, you know, because they can't not be wrong, you know.
Yeah.
Because for them that's their whole livelihood. That's what life is for them, you know. Life is to be 100% on that one type of religion, enough so where I can go and, you know, kill the infidels and drive a plane into a building, or turn around and strip myself away from society and go and live with, like the Amish do over here, so then they can be closer to God and all that kind of stuff, where now that they're 100%, you know, they're going 100 all the way, you know. But I don't know. I always like to use the word I think. in any kind of situation. I believe or I think this, because to say I know, I don't know. It doesn't settle in my stomach right.
You brought up the Amish and you brought up the Muslims. There's the Hindu. There's all of it. I think people's attraction to it is structure.
Exactly.
But then, because I think there's an innate feeling in all of us that you want to be good. You want to be able to tell yourself, I'm a good person. So when you find structure, because like all of those, what's the main point? Well, that means you're being a good person. That's really what religion boils down to.
Right.
And so with let's say the Amish, even Muslim, you do this, and you're good according to their God,
Right.
So you take that away, and that's where it's much different. And I think that's what people, because like here, what would be our structure in America? Well, America's structure, your average American is, if I go to church on Sunday, then that's structure. I'm good.
Right.
When it's not really, and that's the same thing. You can go to church on a Sunday. That don't mean, in my terminology, that don't mean you're saved.
Of course not. No.
Yeah, but even if I'm Amish, that don't mean you're saved. If I'm Muslim, don't mean I'm saved. If I'm everything, I don't think that it doesn't mean.
Exactly.
Because it boils down to, what do you believe?
Right.
Because it's almost based off you're trying to earn. You want to earn something, or
like a scaling of.
Yeah, it's a scale. It's like, I'm good enough. I'm a good person.
And that boils down to pride even too. Like, where like you can't even go and tell yourself that the depravity that you are as a human being is bad. That everything that you do and everything, you just, it's kind of like a murderer almost going and being like, well, they deserve to die. I'm like, well, they might have deserved to die, but you still killed them. Or like certain things like that, where it's just like, yeah, but you still did what you were not supposed to do, and so it doesn't matter whether you had good intentions or not, But I don't know, it's a weird one for me, because being so, you're raised with it and everything like that too, and at least for religion wise, is like when you can be like talking to someone like a Hindu or something like that, and you're like, okay, well, let me see what you believe, and I could be wrong and you could be completely right on this situation. Having that capability of being able to give someone that is, I don't know, it's something that's so like, you can be so close to them where they're really interested in telling you what they believe. Everyone wants to tell you what they believe, but if you're over there just telling them, like, if they know in the back of their mind that all you're doing is just buying time so then you can push your agenda on them, then yeah, of course they're not going to be like, if you ever go and have a good conversation with a Mormon that's like a hardcore Mormon that, comes to your door, knocks on your door, and then they're over there like, okay, and then you try to talk to them about what you believe, and they're over there just like glazed eyes, like, okay, yeah, and they're just waiting to just, leash into you with what they believe, and then you're like, well, why the fuck am I even talking to you? Because they're already set in their belief, but like, you should go, I think, in all types of, new things with open eyes of sorts, where like, you could be wrong with what you believed in your whole entire life. Mm-hmm. And someone somewhere believes in this. Someone somewhere here is smarter than you. Someone here, that believes in this certain situation, and they've made it their whole entire life, and they live maybe even a better, closer walk to what their God believes than you have even walked with your own God. You know? And so saying that someone's wrong, you know, or you can both be wrong, but it's not about, I think, the right or wrong. It's about just showing compassionate love to the person. But if they don't give that back to you over there too, it also is like, okay, well, you do have to, like, I mean, if they become like where it's fighting issue now, or like they're gonna go and like kill you over it, that's when I think you can raise up where, like, okay, I believe this and this is where I'm gonna fight for, you know. But if it's not a fighting issue, then you should go into it with more of an openness to not only be able to talk to them about what you believe, so then you can share what you think, and then they can maybe determine for themselves that what they believe has been wrong. But then you can even maybe yourself learn something new that you never knew about, and then now you're changing your perspective. Because at some point, somewhere, you were told about a certain religion, and then you believed it. You know, and you believed it because probably a plethora of different reasons, you know. I think the dumbest one that I ever hear people say is that, oh, I believe in a God because I believe in him. Or I believe, no, not because I believe him, that I felt him, you know, that I felt, you know, God coming on me, and then that's how I knew. I mean, if you're running by just what you're feeling, that's a very scary situation right there.
Yeah, if you let your emotions control your life.
But I see a lot of people, like, you know, with a lot of different religions, even Christianity over there, they're going by a feeling. And I don't know, feelings change, and feelings are you're very subject to feeling something that you didn't ever think you would ever feel. Like, I don't know, doing the small amount of drugs I've done in the past with psychedelics and stuff, you find out really quickly you can conjure up things in your head that are not real. You can totally believe them 100%. And you can feel it like it's you know, the newest thing, you know, but it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's so. I don't know how much of, like, I remember seeing. There was one time I went to a church that my grandparents were. I think it's more of a Pentecostal thing. The Pentecostals are more notorious for this, I think, and or they're kind of showy and they're all about the feeling stuff over there because they believe it's more of the Holy Spirit. Which I don't not believe in the Holy Spirit, but I don't think he works in the mysterious ways that they kind of make him out to be. You know, I think it's more of their mental state letting them do certain things. But they were over here, like, they're all singing praises to God, and I was like, okay, I can dig this, you know.
Yeah.
They're all raising their hands and whatnot, and so I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then I started seeing people faint. I was like, what? You know, and then I didn't really know exactly what was going on, and I was seeing people just kind of like faint, fall backwards and stuff like that, and I'm like, I don't know. You can go to like a rock concert and feel the same feelings that you feel during a
exactly.
Christian concert.
That is my issue with those kind of.
It's a feeling, you know.
Yeah.
If you're rolling on feelings alone, you know, feelings are not a bad thing. They're there for a reason. You can't just be like, I don't know, I've been more raised in the Baptist, you know, type of thing. And the Baptists, in my opinion, are just kind of like very, very logical. Very logical.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
Very little emotion involved in their decision making. Very guy religion, no. But very logical. But they don't have the same type of feeling towards everything. You know, like a Pentecostal like feeling, you know, where there's a wonder to it, and you know, they're just more of like a book smart type of people. And then the weirdest part is they believe in the same God. You know, they're going to the same spot, but they have two different types of ways of doing the same thing, you know. And but letting your emotions dictate what religion you believe in, you can go have a yoga session over there and have some seance music going on over there where you can get totally entranced in it. You can have a feeling, trust me. You can have a feeling pretty quickly. And now basing your whole entire life upon that feeling now it's based upon a good feeling or like but I don't know how much of that is real. How much of it is real and how much of it is just us making up shit.
Yeah.
Because your mind is an amazing thing. You can conjure up out of a shadow a crazy little figure that's over there and scare yourself half to death. You can conjure up things in your mind, and that's the thing too. Like even in the Bible, it's like you have the capability of doing so much with your mind. But at the same time, you can convince yourself of things that are not real. So, do I believe my religion is 100% correct? I think so. But that's the thing. I think it is. But there's still that point where I could be wrong. And I'm okay with being wrong. I'm okay with that. I have that capability. I have the right to be wrong.
Yeah.
But everyone has that right. Everyone should have that right. You should never take away someone's right to be wrong. I think that's the problem that we have though with society, where if it affects something like very big decision making wise, or like where it's going to affect all of society over here, it does. You do have to take care of it right then and there. You can't just let it go and be whimsical about it.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I would say for me, like, I know there's a God, and I know Christ died on the cross for me, and I know I believe in Him, and I know that's what makes me a Christian. Now, do I believe that I know everything that happens, and do I think that I know how to live a life as a Christian should? No. Do I believe I will ever do it right? No. Do I believe anyone else does it right? No. Because I believe that's the uniqueness of Christianity, is it's a personal relationship. It is not, and people can disagree or agree with me, but Christianity is not a religion. It is a relationship with Christ. So that can mean something different for me, and that can mean something different for you.
Right. And that also comes with something I came in conclusion with when I was younger, or at least around 16, was like there are people that have certain things that God tells them, or they believe that God tells them, and they're more of a personal conviction type basis. So don't drink alcohol or don't do this, and God's told them this, but then they turn around now and try to enforce that upon others too at the same time, which some people are in that same kind of conviction. So it seems like the division that we have is just personal conviction wise type stuff. We all believe in it, or like at least in the Christian realm, they all believe in the same Jesus. Some of them are a little bit different, but their personal convictions are different, you know? And they base their whole entire, they start separating off a little bit, and now we're all divided off of just personal convictions and what we think the scripture says. We're still reading the same scripture. It's just we think differently then, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's so weird that they can separate off so far away. You see some of the people like the Church of Christ, all the way up to the Southern Baptist. It's just, and then all in between, non-denominational over here doing something completely different over here. And it's like, who's right in this whole entire situation? And then even with other religions, they do the same thing. Like with the Muslim religion, they have so many different people. They like to present themselves as the religion of peace and stuff like that. But at the same time, they have sections of them that are not.
Killing each other.
They don't give a damn about peace. They're over here to
inciting war.
Yeah, but they're called to do that though. They're trying to have the second coming. I believe, I can't remember what it's called. They have a name for it, but they're trying to incite the second coming, and so it's like there's different sects even in there too, and they read their scriptures and they read them different too, and they set it up, and then now they have these kind of Muslims that believe this type of thing, and then they have these Muslims that they don't believe in the same exact things over here. Their women are uncovered over here. It's like, okay, well, it's all subject to change.
Yeah.
But I think I'll wrap that up for now over here. Thank you all for joining me in the podcast over here. Let us know what you think about it over here, and be sure to check out my podcast that I have over here. I've got it on iTunes, Google Play, all that kind of good stuff over there, so you can always hit it up over here. I've got Jared on every single one of my podcasts.
Yes, sir.
Too, so yeah, he's the guy that always shows up over here, and it's awesome. He has good conversation wise over here. I'm about to change my show over here. I'm gonna be like the Darian Jackson and Jared Dubon show over here, because he's a reoccurring guy over here. But that will conclude this for tonight. Be sure to let us know what you think about everything that was stated over here in the comment section. And let us know what you think about the podcast. If you listen to it on any of them, we need those good reviews over there so we can get broadcast over the very top, so we can get more listeners over there for it. So we can
5 star. 5 star.
5 stars. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. Even if you don't agree with us all the time, I love you still. If you don't agree with me, I still love you. It's fine.
Yeah, we can disagree. Just give us a 5 star.